Hi guys, welcome to this new session of Corporate Finance for CFA Level 2. In today's session, we'll be covering the reading of capital structure. Now, capital structure is a very basic reading at level 2. It tries to build exactly where you left off at level 1. So your knowledge about cost of equity, cost of debt, cost of preference, weighted average cost of capital, all of those things are already there from level 1. At level 2, the institute is just trying to make sure, or rather help you build up an understanding of what are the various ways in which a company actually decides what its capital structure is going to be. So you know the details about capital structure from the level 1 itself, how cost is calculated, all those things. Level 2 is just trying to get you a little bit more familiar with the idea as to how the company might take decisions. So we have certain theories provided to us at level 2. So let's start with the first one, which is the proposition. Now, here is the same thing that we covered in the previous readings as well, Modigliani and Miller. So they gave this entire theory. We have two theories on the proposition. One is proposition 1, and then there is proposition 2. So we'll be starting with the first one. Now, first one is fairly basic, but there is a discussion we need to have before we even get to the proposition. That discussion is about the assumptions that are valid for propositions. So first, let's look at the assumptions. Then we look at what the proposition actually is. So the proposition works on 5 basic assumptions. Let's look at all of them in detail. First assumption is that there is no transaction cost, no taxes, no bankruptcy, also known as frictionless market. Basically, anything that would create any sort of hurdle in the market, any sort of cost, all of those things are eliminated. So this is saying the market is the perfect sort of market. Think of it like in economics, you had perfect competition, something like that. So no transaction cost, no taxes, no bankruptcy cost. Now, bankruptcy cost is the expenses or the cost that the company might have to bear if they decide to shut down their business. Now, think logically. In the real world, companies don't shut down their business the moment they start having losses. The simple reason is shutting down a business has its own set of costs. So those costs are known as bankruptcy costs. So the assumption is saying there are no such types of costs in the market. Then you have homogeneous investor expectations. This is saying that all investors in the market, every single investor in the market has the same set of expectations. So two investors cannot have different expectations. The third one is saying that you can borrow and lend money at the risk-free rate. Now, this is very important because from level 1, one of the things that we did cover a little bit was that when a company has debt, let's say there is 30% debt in a company. If the company wants to increase this debt to, let's say, 50%, they will have to take that additional debt at possibly higher cost of debt. So if the earlier 30% debt was at a rate of, let's say, 10%, they were paying 10% interest on that. The next 20% that they raise, they might not get it at the same 10%. They might get it at a higher rate because now they are adding risk to the business. But this third point, if it says that you can borrow and lend money at risk-free rate, this is saying that no matter how much debt you take, even if you finance 100% of your business with loan, which is not practically possible, but if you manage to do that, you'll still get the same interest rate on your loan as you would if you were to finance just 1% of your business. So irrespective of how much debt you have in the business, the cost of debt remains constant. That is one of the major takeaways from this third assumption. Then we have no agency cost. Agency cost is basically everything we've covered in the corporate governance. So agency cost is that there is a conflict of interest between shareholders and the management, and all the costs associated with trying to minimize or mitigate that conflict of interest. Those are known as agency costs. So everything we've covered in corporate governance, that is agency cost. Then last assumption is saying that the investment and financing decisions. Investment decisions is basically capital budgeting, where we're going to put the money so that we get returns. And financing decisions, where are we going to get that money from? The assumption says that these two decisions are entirely independent. They are not connected with each other. They are independent till some extent. We covered that at level 1 also, but they are not 100% independent. So all of these 5 assumptions are making this proposition feel into a theory which is not practically applicable, and that is correct. Proposition is a very theoretical approach, and the whole idea behind this is to get you guys familiarized with maybe the first sort of basic theories that we have in place before we move on to slightly more realistic ones. Now that we are done with the assumptions, let's look at the proposition itself. So the proposition says that a value of a levered form is equal to value of an unlevered form. This is what the proposition is saying. This means levered form is the one which is using debt in its capital structure, and unlevered form is the one which is 100% financed by equity. It has no debt. So what proposition is saying is that the value of a business is not affected by where they are financing their money from. Whether they have debt in their capital structure or not is not going to affect the value of the business. Now, at level 1, we did come across various situations that, as you increase debt, your cost of debt would increase, your weighted average cost of capital would increase. But the thing is, using these 5 assumptions, all the things that used to influence the decision making process and the financing process, all of those have been taken away. And we are left with a situation where now we can keep borrowing as much money we want at the same rate. And there is no agency cost, there is no other cost also. So, proposition, in the very basic sense, it is saying value of a business should be dependent on what the business is doing and not on where they are getting their money from. So, it is sort of an equation form of this last assumption itself, that value of a business is what they are doing, where they are investing money, and not where they are getting money from. So from that perspective, value of a levered form and unlevered form would be exactly the same. Now there is one more part of the proposition, which is introducing taxes. So the next part of proposition 1, it's still the proposition 1, but this part is just removing the tax part. So now all the other assumptions hold, but taxes are there. So the second part of proposition 1 is with taxes. Now this is saying value of a levered form. Levered form is a form which has debt in its capital structure. This is same as value of unlevered form plus taxes into the amount of debt. Now, what this second portion is focusing on is, this is saying that whenever you have debt in your capital structure, you'll get tax benefits. Think from level 1. We used to have cost of debt, but we always took it on an after-tax basis. So if the interest rate was 7%, we used to subtract, or rather multiply it with 1 minus t to get an after-tax cost of debt. So on an after-tax basis, debt was even cheaper because we got some tax benefits by way of interest being a tax deductible expense. So this is saying if there are taxes in the market, then your value of a firm that has some amount of debt will always be greater than the value of a firm that has no debt. And by how much amount will it be greater? By the amount of tax benefits that you are getting. So value of levered firm is value of unlevered firm plus something, which means if you add debt, your firm would increase in value as compared to a firm that has no debt. And how much would that increase be? It would be by the factor of how much tax benefit you are getting. So this tax theory, where proposition 1 says that okay, taxes exist, this ended up concluding that the value of a firm will be maximized at 100% debt. Now, we all know in real world it's not possible to have 100% debt, but here the assumption is you can borrow and lend at risk-free rate as much as you want. So, if value of levered firm is always going to be more than the value of an unlevered firm by the amount of tax benefits, why not take 100% debt and maximize this amount? This is the difference between the value of a levered and unlevered firm. So if I have to maximize this, I need 100% debt. So that is your proposition 1. So that is your proposition 1, both without taxes and with the taxes. Let's move on to proposition